Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam.
Good evening, brothers and sisters. Good to see them. Those are not familiar with the Arabic term, but first I have to greet you in that language. It is indeed a pleasure to have us this evening Brother Abdullah El Mosi, who is here to give us some inspirational talk and informative lecture on principles that govern etymology and the Moorish civil letter. He's well versed in his discipline, and we are very fortunate that Brother Thompson, who we could call it, he's also noble, and we have a noble here with us today, Noble Richardson, although he's not regaled with his fez, but he has one just like mine, and who's with us this afternoon. Huh?
The best picture
I'll explain the signs of it in a minute for you, why the name is there. If I think I say Ethiopian Amara, so she should know who Menelik is or was. But back to Brother Bey, he has a lot of knowledge for his young age, I should say, that he's acquired. And I know he must have put a lot of time and energy into studying all of these disciplines. So we are most fortunate to have him here with us this evening. Unfortunately, the time when we got him to come was very, very short. But I know he's a very busy person, so I couldn't miss the opportunity of having him here. So although we are few, don't worry about that, because Jesus Christus, he started with just 12, and how many millions he has now. So that's a small beginning, and it will expand. So it is indeed a great privilege and a pleasure to have with us Brother Bey. But before, let me explain to you, because all of these rhinestones and stuff like that. He'll go into this deeper, but I'll just explain the name. It's Menelik number 1. You know who Menelik was? There you go. Menelik number 1. He had 2 Meneliks. So we needed a number 1. Not this Yasha, the other one, but Menelik, right? So, and we know who Menelik was because our temple here is named Menelik number 1. And of course, it's King Solomon's grand lodge. So our forebears and our principles, in his wisdom, he had everything well correlated and follows in principle. So I could easily say, I'm the lily of the valley, and I'm as bright as the morning star. So that's who Solomon was. So once again, Brother Bey, thank you so much for responding to our call.
You're welcome.
And it's a great pleasure having you with us this evening. And we are looking forward to hearing from you and all your knowledge and information. Thank you. Very much.
Thank you. Beta Makem, coming, Miam. Beta Makem, coming to the light. Miam, I shall come. Islam, Assalamu alaikum. Thank you very much for having me here today. And I am energetic and trust that I can impart some knowledge, help raise you from a dead level to a living perpendicular. So when you're looking down, you're looking at the perfect point of the square, all right? Real raising, all right? Etymology is the history and origin of words. And what etymology has allowed me to do is actually see connections that the general public does not otherwise see. Well, oftentimes you'll see words in the modern English forms not knowing that there's connections to other languages. And what etymology does, it allows you to uncover the culture as the culture is in the language. And so through studying different symbolisms, I actually be able to make the connection. And by what I did was, by studying various symbols, I saw a greater puzzle. Just looking at them individually, begin to see how they're all connected as one great puzzle. And then that became unfolding by looking at the words that are connected. For example, the word Solomon is one word. And I'll break that down, the etymology of the word Solomon, and you'll see that once you understand the etymology, you begin to see the culture and what it really truly means, what it denotes, what it points to, what it refers to, what it signifies. What I want to do is put this in a broader perspective. Masonry in a broader perspective. European Masons, the trustees of the Moorish government. What you see here is my book cover, Moors and Masonry, which is scheduled to be released in the fall. And I have here the proper orientation. And what you often see, particularly on your holiday, July 4th, the helical rising of Sirius, you'll see oftentimes Europeans and as well as Asiatics wearing t-shirts, but not with this. They wear t-shirts with the Star-Spangled Banner superimposed over the port of the Moorish land. So what I want to do with this book cover is present the proper orientation. See, what the Europeans do is that they present an orientation of European occupation. So when you see the Star-Spangled Banner superimposed over this portion of the Moorish land, it means occupation. The Moorish land is currently under occupation of a European colonial government. I have here 6 Moors surrounding the landmass. Brother Taj is one of them. Sister Rasmavaya, people know. So let's start here. Brother Taj, Brother Sister Hanifa, Sister Nen, Sister Rasmavaya, Sister Rakaya, and Brother Rashan. And there below that, below the landmass, I have the Moorish buildings. The Moorish White House, Capitol building, and Moorish Supreme Court building. And you say, today, the Europeans are trustees. On the back of the Federal Reserve note, just putting this in the proper perspective, on the back of the Federal Reserve note, everyone had one, you could take out a OneNote. A OneNote, we've been conditioned to call a OneNote a $1 bill. There's no such instrument. No one in this world can show me a $1 bill. No one in this world can show me, can produce into any evidence a $1 bill. Go to the etymology of the word. Dollar, coming from the word Jachimstal, which is a place in Bohemia where the silver was mined. So you have staller, dollar, taler, modern English, dollar, silver coin. So this doesn't look like a silver coin to me. Now, a note is a commercial instrument. A piece of paper. This is a note. So you have dollar bill. Bill, commercial paper, dollar, silver coin. So this can't be a coin and paper at the same time. It's just once you understand what the words are. So I did that because I told you to put out a OneNote. So now you know what a OneNote is. This is a OneNote. This is an instrument of debt. Does not represent wealth, it represents debt. And they transferred the debt onto the public. So they took the gold and silver out of circulation, and through military power, 1933, the Gold Act in 1933, those who refused to give up their money, gold coins, their gold coins were confiscated, and you refused to give it up, you were arrested. That's the Gold Act of 1933. All right, so this was put into circulation through military act, through color of law. And this is not money. All right, so that's just so we're getting proper orientation of what this is. On the back of this OneNote, you have symbolically laid out Moorish history. Here you have the transfer of the Moorish government. We, the Moors, transfer the Moorish government into the hands of the Europeans. What people are not aware of is that Moors, on this landmass, you have what's called the diplomatic relations between the Moors, Moroccan Empire, and the European powers. Treaties, tribute treaties between France and Morocco, Netherlands and Morocco, England and Morocco, dating back to the 1500s. And the tribute treaties were where we agreed to not seize the European ships, to allow them to have free passage, but the agreement was as long as they paid us tribute, we would allow them to pass. Oftentimes we violated the treaties with the Moors and seized the ships anyway, and also seized Europeans and held Europeans in ransom by the hundreds of thousands. And we demanded gold, silver, porcelain plates, silver spoons. And this is the history that's been covered up. So that history of Europeans being held in servitude by the Moors and we demanding high ransom is not taught in these public schools. What is taught is that Moors were transported by over 10 million on ships from what is now known as Africa to the Americas. That is a false history, but that false history was put in place to cover up the fact that we are aboriginal indigenous to this land. So what we did was we transferred, to preserve the Moorish government, we transferred it into the hands of European Masons. Masonry for the Europeans is the preservation, have here, the preservation of the Moorish government. So they're actually preserving our government, and they are the trustees of our Moorish government. These are European Masons. Now, Masonry is also the preservation of the ancient knowledge of astronomy and geometry. Moors and Masonry, the restoration of Moorish land, the Moorish government, and the Moorish sovereignty. Masonry, the preparation to run the Moorish government. In order to run the Moorish government, you must understand Masonry. You must be taught Masonry in the true sense of Masonry, in its ancient sense of Masonry, that being astronomy, geometry, measurements, structure of government, because understanding, there's a phrase in the Declaration of Independence, nature's law and the laws of nature. Understanding that nature's law, the cycles of cyclical cycles, the cycles of planets and cycles of stars, and how they have an effect, the star alignments. All right? Moving right along. So I'm going to get more detail, but I just wanted to set this aright. And also below, as you see here, I have some European Masons. Who are these imposters? They are the custodials of the Moorish government. All right, let's move on right along. Can I have someone erase this for me, please? Thank you. Just erase it lightly. Just do it lightly. Thank you. Here, going right here to, who has been to the George Washington Masonic National Memorial Museum in Alexandria, Virginia? You been there? All right. So you're aware of that. This is the Shriners Room. Now, I went to the Shriners Parade 2 weeks ago in Indianapolis, Indiana. Now, the procession was not as elaborate as this model. And I was somewhat surprised because I was looking for this type of, where we had Europeans they were wearing the fezzes, but they were not wearing, some were wearing Moorish garb. And if you see these pictures, you see how elaborate these pictures are, how elaborate the dress is. That's not how the parade was. All right? So, Masonry for the Europeans, you see here. And I'm just going to go right through this. See how elaborate this is? This is the model of the parade in the Shriners Room. Right? Moving right along here. Here we go. Just kidding, so y'all can get a feel. For those who haven't been, can see how elaborate this parade is. And this parade is that the Europeans are celebrating. They have this parade annually in different states. And this parade is the celebration of the defeat of the Moors in their own land. And they've classified the Moors as Negro, colored, and black in the United States Census Bureau. And so we know a lot of us know Moors, a lot of Moors, but they think they're black people. You know, they operate on a Carl Linnaeus, Francois Bernier, Johann Friedrich Blumenbach, Birthright still in paradigm. Carl Linnaeus was the one who came up with the official classification in 1752 of classifying the human family based on 4 phenotypes. It was Francois Bernier in the 1600s, 1680s. Carl Linnaeus in the 1750s. Johann Friedrich Blumenbach in the 1790s. And they were the ones who, based on 4 constructs, classified the human family based on skin tone. We're familiar with that, right? Cranial size, phenotype, and hair texture. So when we're familiar with skin tone, all right, this classification. So this is a birthright stealing paradigm which has been implemented throughout the world. So Moors who are classified in the United States Census Bureau are the only people who have no concept of nationality. The only people on the planet that think that identity is based on complexion. But that paradigm was set to steal our birthright, because that takes us outside the constitutional fold of government. So you have these European Masons who have this annual parade, the Shriners, European Shriners who have this annual parade, and there was mostly Europeans there. In fact, it was a few Mexicans in the parade, just a handful, and 2 branded Moors were in the parade, but for the most part it was Europeans. And there were 2 brothers sitting on the sideline not too far from where I was standing, and they had the Shriners jacket on, but they were not in the parade. They were sitting on the sidelines watching the parade as I was. Now, so move on. So this here represents, this annual parade is the celebration of their defeat of the Moors. So putting this in perspective of this parade. Now, also, the Shriners used the structure of the Moorish government as the structure of their organization. So they adopted, or in preserving, once again, Masonry for the Europeans is the preservation of the Moorish government. As the Moorish government was transferred into the hands, they're custodials or trustees of the Moorish government. So in the shrine, they had what's called the imperial divan. If you're not understanding history, you think that the imperial divan originated with the shrine, not knowing that it's actually the structure of the Moorish government. Let's talk. Who's ever seen this? That's the structure, that's a Moorish council. This is a Moorish, here Moroccan, / Moorish governmental council. And in this council you have the Sultan, Beys, You have viziers, which is a high-ranking Moorish official. Moors use vizier, Europeans use secretary, secretary of state, secretary of the treasurer. So so that you can put the word vizier in its proper governmental perspective. Vizier, a high-ranking Moorish official, as in secretary of treasurer, secretary of state, secretary of defense. All right, so this is a high-ranking Moorish official. But Europeans, in preserving our government as it was transferring to the hands, they use secretary. It's the Moorish government. All right. Now, as I said before, making clear that the Moorish government has a dual national seal. You do not see two seals on this Federal Reserve note. You do not see two seals on it. He said, but Abdullah, you can't count. Does anyone have a coin? He said, but I was taught to count in school, and I see 1, 2. All right, you have a coin. Doesn't matter what it is. All right. How many coins do I have? How many sides does it have? 1 coin, right? 1 government with what? 2 sides. So the proper way of displaying it is on a coin, but the word 1 is between it. Then you know that it's 1. 1 government with 2 sides. Now when the Europeans display the Great Seal, they refer to the Great Seal as the Great Seal pyramid in the form of a government seal as the reverse. And they refer to the eagle as the obverse. But that's distortion. That's a corruption. This is the obverse. Means the principal side or main or chief side of a coin, building, or design, or painting. Obverse. The European Masons do belong to the Moroccan government, as there's only 1 government. So this is the occupational European government. They're subordinates. So you have the subordinate substitute beys. The substitute beys are called governors. So the substitute beys use the title governor, but they're substitute beys. So going back to the Moorish landmass again, putting this in proper perspective. All right, how am I doing, y'all? All right, so here you see this land. So you have the children learn when they see this landmass, this part of the Moorish territory. They see European colony names, colonial names on it. New Jersey, North Carolina, South Carolina, California, Mississippi, so forth. So the children are groomed into European colonial thinking. The children are taught that the names of the land masses are on the maps. So they say, well, I was born in New Jersey and California, I'm going to North Carolina. That's not the name of the lands. Those are European colonies that are operating portions of the Moorish territory. And they have a substitute bey. So each European colony has a substitute bey that governs a portion of the Moorish territory. All right? And they're called governors. They're substitute beys. Keep in mind, there's a connection. The connection is that we transfer the government into their hands. They are operating your government. They're not operating some European government that came from England and France and Germany, all right? And now you have this. No, they took over. We transferred their hands. So to preserve the Moorish government, to preserve this ancient science of astronomy and cosmology and geometry, we transfer it into their hands. So they are trustees, and they know this very well. They have an obligation to you, but they classify you as Negro, color, black. So as long as you're classified as Negro, color, black, there's no obligation because you're outside of civilized order. There's no obligation. The Treaty of Peace and Friendship between Moroccan Empire and the United States, 1786, signed by His Imperial Majesty, which is the imperial potentate, which is the sovereign grand commander, which is the royal monarch. They also took that too. So they got us thinking that those titles are titles that belong to the order, not knowing that there are government tied and sovereignty that's invested in those titles. So you have the shrine uses your title, imperial potentate. They give an honor to His Imperial Majesty Muhammad ibn Abdullah. In 1777, Muhammad ibn Abdullah extended his hand and recognized the United States. In 1777, Barack Obama in June of 2010 stated that the first country to recognize the United States was Morocco. Why aren't these children taught that in school? Bill Clinton in 2000 mentioned that the first country to recognize Morocco, the United States, was Morocco, and that the longest standing and unbroken treaty in the world is the Treaty of Peace and Friendship between Moroccan Empire and the United States. Why aren't these children taught that? You got two presidents. There were two presidents that mentioned this. Why isn't there a display at this $500 million building? $500 million was spent to build the Constitution Center in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. It's not one display. Not one display. And you got two presidents that stated that the first country to recognize the United States was Morocco. What's the motive of the historical cover-up? What's the motive? All right? So, any questions before I move on? Comments? Anything I need to be clear on before I move on?
What was the name of the president from Morocco who reached out?
All right, here's His Pure Majesty, Muhammad ibn Abdullah, which is the royal monarch, which is the sovereign grand commander, which is the imperial potentate. All those titles belong to him, to you, by birthright, by consanguinity, by descent, by ancestry, by lineage, and not by Masonic order.
When you're demonstrating the water, the shrine and the parade, the dress, the northern dress is Moorish.
Yes, the dress is Moorish. The dress is Moorish. So this is why going back to some of them, let's go back. See, Moorish dress. See the connection? I mean, so who are we? This is Moorish garb. Absolutely. I mean, I know some of you been to the George Washington Masonic Memorial Museum, but if you go there with this consciousness, you see more. I mean, because a lot of times you go and I say, I saw that, but you're looking at it as part of that it belongs to them. You're not looking at it as it belongs to you. So you're not looking at it, therefore you're not looking at it from a birthright perspective. So what I trust to do here today is to broaden your horizon of what Masonry is. Take you from a more narrow view to where you are right now and broaden that horizon and connect it to you by birthright, ancestry, consanguinity, descent, lineage, pedigree, parentage, and not by order. And believe me, this will expand your mind and free you and your people. And that's what my job is to do. All right? So you have these past imperial potentates who take your title, all right, giving honor, because I said, and also going back to 1777. From 1777 to 1786, the Treaty of Peace and Friendship was put into force in January of 1787. So you're looking at a period of 10 years. That Treaty of Peace and Friendship was a monumentous task for the Europeans, not for you. Remember, keep in mind that you were ruling. They were paying tribute to you. So that Treaty of Peace and Friendship, the reason why they wanted to engage in a permanent Treaty of Peace and Friendship, because they could not keep up with the annual tribute payments. As they were paying, it was customary. Europeans' military and economic and political policies were dictated by their paying annual tributes to Morocco. But why? And that's not taught in the schools, though. They modified. They increased the army, setting to fight the Moors. Their customary was not to fight the Moors, was to pay the annual tribute. Thomas Jefferson, when he was Secretary of State under George Washington's administration, he wanted to go to war. But George Washington, maintaining European customs of paying annual tribute to the Moors, did not. So when Thomas Jefferson became president in 1801, what did he do? He went to war. It was called the First Barbary War, 1801 to 1805. He went to war because that was Thomas Jefferson's mission, was to not pay the tributes, but to go to war. And they were paying us annual tributes, and it's evident in George Washington's letter to his Imperial Majesty, Imperial Monarch, Royal Monarch, Imperial Potentate, Sovereign Grand Commander, Muhammad ibn Abdullah. He, writing him on December 1st of 1789, he apologized to his Imperial Majesty for not keeping up with regular correspondence and not keeping up with regular tribute payments. He thanked the Sultan for honoring the Treaty of Peace and Friendship. See, this is why they give his Imperial Majesty great honor, because he was the one that honored the Treaty of Peace and Friendship and extended protection for them, as they were beys and days who did not agree with his Imperial Majesty, giving favor to the United States. So this Treaty of Peace and Friendship was a battle. And finally, June of 1786, Royal Monarch, Sovereign Grand Commander, Imperial Potentate, Muhammad ibn Abdullah signed the Treaty of Peace and Friendship. And that was a great task. Now, they got some protection. Now the Treaty of Peace and Friendship is important to us. Why? Because we're now in the position they were once in. Roles are reversed now. Roles are reversed. So this Treaty of Peace and Friendship is very important. This is why Barack Obama mentioned it, Hillary Clinton mentioned it, and her husband, Bill Clinton, mentioned it. Also, these children aren't taught the names of the presidents of the Continental Congress. Why not? Peyton Randolph, Mifflin, Cyrus August Boltenolt, Cyrus Griffin. Why they can't? Oh, Mr. Bey. My students ask me, who are they? Who are they? What do you mean? Is this United States history? You don't know the presidents of the Continental Congress? Why isn't that taught? Why isn't there a display in the Constitution Center? $500 million notes was transferred to build the Constitution Center in Philadelphia, Virginia, but there's no display. of the President of the Continental Congress there, though there are displays of the President of the Continental Congress, but not there. They have, you know, it's like they're separate. You know what I mean? They have President of the Continental Congress, they got their own display, you know, they got their own museums and so forth. So more like they're separate and not even part of. Know why? Because during that time period, 1774, 5, 6, 7, 4, you had what? The diplomatic relations. You had the negotiation of the Treaty of Peace and Friendship. So don't mention them. Don't talk about the President of the Continental Congress. So you don't mention them, no questions are asked. Well, what happened during August Bolton's administration? Cyrus Griffin, Mifflin's. What happened to their administration? What was their? See? It was like it never happened. All right, so key is why the cover up. Not that they covered it up, that they don't teach it. Why it's not taught? And how does it relate to you? All right, so you have here past imperial potentates, once again taking your title. Right, so we got to put this in the proper historical and governmental perspective, where we're not seeing these titles as mere titles belonging to Masonic orders, but they're governmental titles that belong to you. All right. Let's go. All right, let's go to this. All right. My man, George Washington. Georgie boy. All right, wearing your apron. Form of a triangle, isn't it? Spherical trigonometry and the spherical triangle. All right? Now, I was telling the young brother here that the apron covers the lower self. You have 7 major energy channels in the body called chakras, the Sanskrit word which means circle of fire. There's 12 points, 7 major energy points. The apron covers the lower chakras, the lower 3 chakras. Now the hand over the heart, standing at a 90 degree, 45, right angle, right triangle. All right, so we get on with geometry here. Standing upright with your hand over the heart, that represents the 4th chakra. So that you have your lower self and your higher self. 4th chakra, 5th throat chakra, 6th chakra, the pineal gland, the crown chakra, the 7th chakra. All right, so dealing with mind science. So there's a philosophy that goes with this.
You said mind science?
Yeah, mind of how to stimulate the higher senses of the brain, the medulla oblongata, the nervous system, the cerebellum, the pituitary gland, the pineal gland, the hypothalamus, the cerebellum. There are sciences in which geometry being one of them. Geometry being one of the sciences, as you have different shapes, as I was telling the brothers out there, different geometrical shapes have an effect on the subconscious mind, can stimulate the subconscious mind. So when you go into the cathedrals with Moorish architecture, you're going into these huge cathedrals with the geometry coded in astronomy. So the geometry and astronomy is coded in the architecture. But the science of the medulla, the cerebrantra, having an effect on the subconscious mind. So you take that out of our community, you create chaos, mental chaos in the mind. So to set order, geometry is used to set order. So we use the ancient knowledge of geometry to set order as understanding how the mind has a geometrical structure and knowing how to activate that. We also, the Germans in 1935 hired Near Eastern scholars to translate the Bhagavad Gita and other Vedic texts into German. What they discovered in studying is that we use the mind to start to fly or propel flying saucers. Remember, we only use 10% of our brain. So imagine if you increase that percentage to 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70. Mind. So this apron covering the lower selves, dealing with that. But there's a philosophy, breath, spirituality. Spiritus means breath. Spirit breathing, not the way you're breathing right now. I'm not talking about the way you're breathing right now. There are controlled breathing, different systems of breathing to increase the chakras. As you begin to breathe properly, you send more oxygen to the brain, activating the higher brain senses. So spirituality is the science of breathing and relating to the subconscious mind, how to activate the higher brain. That's spirituality, not Almighty. No, you could do that once you increase the chakras. Now you can invoke God, coming from the Sanskrit word God, Korda. Korda means to invoke. Persian, Huta. Gothic, Gut, G-U-T-T. Modern English, God. So God is not some entity outside of you. God is what you do. God is an action, what you do. You invoke. So by increasing through spirituality, through geometry, crystals, metals, you increase this mind, energy, vibration. And so now you begin to invoke. So now what you call brings into manifestation. Our power is too low, y'all. So we're doing this prayer. It's empty because your power is low. You're dead. So we have to increase the power. All right, moving right along. Snake. Question, comment, criticism. All right? So we're all aware of this, the all-seeing eye. All right, so the all-seeing eye, once again, that's the pineal gland dealing with insight. The insight is divine. So we're not in our natural state of mind. Because we've been made to see things. We were made to suppress our higher mind through fear. So what the Europeans have done was apply distorted, connotated meanings to words and symbols. And so now you see, when you see the skull and bones, when you see the Baphomet symbol, you're afraid, fear. So they took your ancient science and applied fear. It's how you're looking at it. So you reject it through fear. When you see your garb, you see your garb, fear, killing, lynching, burning. You associate burning, lynching, killing to that. That's what they want you to do. You don't associate mind science. You don't see the cone. And they also applied a distorted meaning to it. Oh, you've been bad today, and you're going to get a dunce hat. Let me get the dunce hat. You've been bad. See that? See? See how they applied that negative, distorted meaning to it? All right? That which is divine, that deals with mind science, they distorted it to keep you from it through fear, misrepresentation. So this here, that's the pineal gland on the head. Don't you see it? Pyramids. Let's talk. All right. Just putting this in proper perspective. All right? Let's increase the power. They also did, European linguists, distorters of history and geography and so forth, is that the snake, so if I were to call him a snake and he didn't know what it really means, and, he would be hurt, you snake. Oh, Daddy, but Abdullah called me a snake. But if he knew what it means, this ancient origin, he'd be like, Daddy, man, but Abdullah called me a snake. He said, I'm a wise man. Man, he called me a snake. Yeah, right on, brother Abdullah. Because we've been given the distorted meaning. Snake doesn't mean deceiver. The European colonists applied that meaning to it. Once again, to what? Keep you from it. So you're dealing with the snake, you're dealing with the Kundalini energy. Now look at this, y'all. Look how the snake is revered. Are they stepping on it? Are they throwing the snake? or they cut it up. Look how it's positioned. Where did that meaning come from? Where did the meaning of deceiver come from? Look at this in Hindustan. Let's talk. Who gave it that meaning? Who told you that snake means deceiver? Feel free to call me a snake anytime. Thank you. I am a wise man. Why? Because my DNA, the knowledge of building civilization, of spherical trigonometry, of mathematics, of astronomy, of architecture is in my DNA. So I call on my ancestors through my DNA by increasing your mind through breathing, geometry, crystals, metals. You can call on the ancestors, what? By tapping into your cellular memory. You call on your ancestors because the DNA is the storehouse of memory. It's stored in your DNA. Europeans are well aware of this. All right? Once again, snake. All right, this is in Spain. You'll see the high, this is in Spain here. It's a little higher than what you used to seeing. All right? You see that here? Seven chakras. All right? It's the same propping you, orientating you to the snake. All right? Give me. You give me the time. We started at 8 o'clock. I was calling you to let you know that, and started at 8 o'clock. Give me a time. Almost 9. All right. I needed to. Can I take a break? Can we take a break? Can we cut? Yeah, take a break. All right. Because I can talk to him. That's why I was calling him. That's why I was calling you. The images in different parts of the world. All right, Hindustan. All right, see that here? And this is you see here in Egypt here. You see also the medicine, sign of healing, on the caduceus, even on ambulances. So they tell you that the snake is evil, means deceiver, yet it's on ambulances. I mean, it's right in front of your face every day. I mean, they put it blatant and they laughing at you behind your back because they have it on the ambulances and you say it's evil. It's right up the rod. Going up the rod, that's going up that kundalini, going up the spine. All right? And it's also representing the double DNA. You have here the DNA, your double helix. So here you see your DNA right here, your double helix. So this has deeper meaning. This has scientific meaning. This is not just, make you feel good. Man, look at those snakes. This has scientific references and meaning to this. They're not just statues. We did not just build a statue for mere building a statue. Even if we built a statue to give honor to a king, the statue was set at a certain measurement. In the book, The Temple of Man by Schwala de Libitz, The Temple of Man, he discovered through the measurements of Abu Simba that the measurements of the fingers and nose and the toes and eyelids having a measurement in relationship to astronomy. So this temple of Abu Simba, the statue of Abu Simba, is not just some mere statue. It's coated with masonry, astronomy, and geometry. Right in the measurements. So once you understand what this company is a square of measurements, the layout of cities, long distance measurements. They have certain measurements, so the distance of the stars, distance of the earth, diameter, radius of the earth, moon, and sun. In fact, geometry means what? Earth measure. All right, moving right along. Now I'm going to get more specific, and I'm going to get right into that. All right. All right, here, the Temple of Quetzalcoatl. There's also the Temple of Chichen Itza. It's an observatory in Mexico. During the vernal equinox, the spring equinox, and the autumnal equinox, there's a shadow of the snake that's cast on the side of the temple. It's an observatory. Shadow of a snake. So, and guess who sees this? Not us. Not us. Europeans by the tens of thousands. Are there during the equinoxes and actually see the shadow of the snake that's cast. See what knowledge they have? Here we are running away from the snake, and they are running to it because they know the power of it. One, they control your education. Oh, my bad. Indoctrination. They indoctrinate you. They control your information source. I mean, they control all the schools. They control the textbooks and curriculum. They control Hollywood. Every major information source they control. So they already know how you think. I mean, they govern your thinking. They create it. They structure the way you think, the way you see, the way you see Masonry, the way you see the snake, the way you see the compass and square, the way you see the apron, the way you see, you know, the Moorish headdress, everything. They structured that for you. So this is how they make control. It's control the information source. Every aspect. What did Senator Barry say in 1832 in the Virginia House of Commons? That we were going to close out every avenue of light. Senator Barry, 1832, Virginia House of Commons. He said it in the House of Commons to control, to shut out every avenue of light. They control your information source. Let's move right along. All right? See here, the Uranus. All right, right here on the crown. My finger, I have to get a pointer. Left the radius right on the crown. That represents the activation of the pineal gland. You also see that in Hindustan. But if you were to go to Hindustan and you were to ask them, they probably wouldn't talk about the Kundalini energy. They'll say, well, it's for marital status, and it is that's one meaning. But they're not going to get into the raising of the Kundalini energy. So you can go there, because it's the same culture. They even told you that they even came up with this divide and conquer term, multicultural. So when you go to Hindustan, you think you're looking at a different culture. Go to Mexico, you think you're going to a different culture. You go to Egypt, you think you're going to a different culture. You go to England, Paris, you think it's a different culture. It's only one culture. But if you understood Masonry, you would know that. If you really understood Masonry in this ancient, true sense, you would know that it's only one culture. And nobody will be able to dupe you that it's different cultures. The word different culture, different and culture doesn't go together. Different connected to culture doesn't go. Multi connected to culture doesn't go. If you use if you connect the word multi to culture, you're already off. And the word different to culture, you're already off. You're already off. I mean that so now you have set a false paradigm. And so therefore therefore when you go to see your brothers and sisters throughout the world, you're not going to be able to connect with them because you think it's a different culture. Believe me, this knowledge is powerful, y'all. Believe me. All right, that's in Hindustan. All right, just going to seeing the snakes here so that you won't view the snake as evil, deceptive, you know. All right. So I'm just going to go right through it. All right. Anyway, here we go. So now we're going to get into some geometry here. All right. All right. All right, this is two Vesica Pisces. All right, a Vesica Pisces within the window. All right, the window itself is a Vesica Pisces. And within the Vesica Pisces, within the artwork is a Vesica Pisces. Within the artwork, they call what they call Jesus. All right, let's talk. All right. The Vesica Pisces is an ancient symbol dealing with creative power of nature, the creative force of nature. All right, so this here, and you'll see these on cars. All right, you'll see this on cars. I don't have this. All right, let's talk etymology. He said, let's talk etymology, y'all. All right. I-O, I-A, I-U, I-E. Egyptian, Chaldean, Phoenician, Babylonian. All right. I-E, I-O, E-S. Say here. I-E-S. Y-A-H. Jah, J-A-H. O-S. J-E what? S-U-S. And guess what it means? Well, you won't see him tonight. You won't see him tonight because it's dark. All right? The sun. I need to find a cap here. Somebody come look for the cap for me, please. Someone look, it's probably underneath this. I don't want this to dry out. Thank you. Yeah, so the sun, you don't see it? Couldn't have gone far. Yeah, so it means the sun, S-U-N. You have it. All right, good, he has it. Because I don't want it to dry out. All right, thank you. Thank you. All right, so this means sun. So there you have within the Vesica Pisces, you have the sun. So you're looking at creative power, the creative power of nature. Since we're on this, let's look at Solomon, the etymology. All right. It's Latin, sun. This is Sanskrit for sun. This is Egyptian for sun. They all mean sun. Now let's talk. This is the rising sun, the east. The sun at its highest point during the day, and this is the west, the setting sun. The rising sun, Sol, and you also have A-U-M. That's the sun at its highest point. And this is the setting sun. Let's go to the 3 degrees. 3 degrees. Here we go. The triune principle in nature. You have the rising sun, the sun at its highest point, the setting sun, all right? You also have, and your seasons, your cardinal points, your fixed points, and your mutable points. So you have the cardinal point, the beginning of the season, the fixed point, and the mutable point means that now it's going to transition into another season. So each seasons have your cardinal, fixed, and mutable. That's your 3 again, in nature. Your 3 in nature. All right, so let's see how this 3 in nature operates. Key. Now we're looking at your solid, liquid, and gas. Let's go to physics, y'all, and chemistry. Solid state, liquid state, gas state. The same thing. It's just different states. There's 3 states. Your 3 degree again. All right? In nature. It's in nature. The 3 degrees are in nature. All right? That's a brand that should expand our mind of Masonry. Expand it. Let's put it in the proper perspective of civilization building, of government, sovereignty. Put it in that perspective. Expand our mind of Masonry. And so we can empower our community. Move from the narrow view to the expansive view. All right, let's move where the Europeans are and beyond them. Because this is where they are. This is where they are with Masonry. This is why they're ruling. This is how they see Masonry. All right? Let's go, since we're here, ritual. The word ritual, arithmos. Arithmetic. All right? Number. So in order for it to be a ritual, it has to be a number or a series of numbers have to be the focal point. Has to be, and it is. Has to be a focal point, the number. All right? So you have here the winding staircase. But let me go back because I don't want to jump ahead. Let me just go here. All right, let me go here. All right. Who knows this? Who's seen this before? On cars and stuff like that. You've seen that before? All right. So let's talk. What you see here is math. It's math. All right. We're looking at spherical trigonometry, the spherical triangle. Now, you have a sphere. Anybody have a ball? A sphere. So in spherical trigonometry, you have plane trigonometry and you have spherical trigonometry, where you're looking at measuring on a sphere, a planet. So looking at navigation, spherical trigonometry is used in navigation, navigating ships, and also in astronomy. All right? This is spherical trigonometry that you see here. What you have here is your triple tau. Tau. This is the 19th letter of the Greek alphabet. 19 times 3 equals 57. 1 radiant equals 57 degrees. If you had trigonometry, you would know that angles can be measured in radian. Now, the children are taught to measure angles in degrees, but you can also measure angles in radian. All right, so this knowledge here being reserved, all right, measuring angles and radian. So now you have here your spherical triangle on a sphere. I'll show you this. I have pictures of all this. I can go right to it. Triangle on a sphere. You know it's too far down. Thought I had them more. All right. See tall here. So the Ankh. All right. Let's look at the Ankh too. All right. So with the Ankh, you have Tau. Right? Then you have your sphere. So you use Tau. Now, pi's can be used in measuring a circle. We all know about, we're familiar with pi, 3.14. The circumference divided by its what? When you're looking at pi, what? The circumference divided by the diameter. All right? All right, so circumference, to find pi, you divide the circumference by the diameter of a circle. But tall is a system that can be used to measure a circle. So the Ankh is that system of measuring the circle. Tau, all right? But using Tau, the focus is on the radius. Pi, the focus is on the diameter. The radius divided by the circumference divided by the radius. That's Tau. That's what this is. Circumference divided by the radius. All right? Going down. All right, here we go. This is Tau here. So you have here a system, another system of measuring the circle. And then here you have your degrees, and relating to each degree relates to the Tau. So you have the degrees of the circle, and you have the relationship to the Tau. All right? Going back. All right. All right, so let me go back up here. Tau and the division of the circle, the zodiac, and the dividing the circle into 12 parts. 1/12 of a circle. The Ankh, the Tau, and the circle. All right. They're giving honor to the ancient knowledge of geometry and astronomy. It's not the ancient knowledge of astronomy and geometry that we use to build civilization. Let's talk Masonry. Without this knowledge, you can't build civilization. Without this knowledge, you cannot run civilization, cannot run government. All right? So Masonry, once again, for the Europeans, is the preservation of ancient knowledge of government, astronomy, geometry, systems of measurement. That's Masonry for the Europeans, the preservation of it. Masonry for us is that we're the founders of it. We're the founders, developers of it. They're the preservers of it. Two different. Founders, Europeans, preservers. All right? They flipped it on y'all. They convinced you through false education that they're the founders, all right? And then they brought you in, that they bring you into what they calling their thing. All right? Because you've been taught, Greek, developed mathematics and, philosophy. They're the founders of civilization. So they're going to bring us in, to their order. Oh, that's your stuff. They can't bring you in. You're the founders of it. You're the founders of civilization. No, you brought them in. You raised them up. Muhammad ibn Abdullah, 1777, extended protection to the United States. He extended the hand of brothership to them. And recognized, and George Washington thanked the Sultan on December 1st, 1789, in the letter to recognizing the Treaty of Peace and Friendship. See, we brought them in. Now the roles are reversed. We got to change how we view it. All right? So here we go. You have your 3 here. Your spherical triangle. See how they're giving honor to the triangle? Equilateral triangle. All right? And then you also see a tau. Now here you have the altar. Now the altars used to be 1 cube. A cube is an ancient Egyptian unit of measure. It's measurement. Now they have what's called doubling the cube. Now you want to double the cube, all right? And doubling the cube is what? Cube square, you're doubling the cube. So this is the doubling the cube. Moving from 1 cube with the altars of 1 cube now to double the cube. All right, cube square. Now you have your equilateral triangle, all right, where the triangle used in spherical trigonometry, used in measuring the stars, used in navigation, understanding trigonometry. So now you have here your three points. The helical rising in Washington, in this part of our territory, Moorish territory, where the White House, the Capitol building, Moorish Capitol building, and the Moorish Supreme Court building. All right? The monument, Washington Monument, the Tekken, or they call it the obelisk. You have the White House and the Capitol building. All make this alignment. And that alignment is representative of a star alignment of Orion, Taurus, and Pleiades. You have what's called the winding staircase. In the winding staircase, you have 3 sets of stairs. The first set of steps, you have 3, denoting the 3 pole stars of Orion's belt. The second set of steps, denoting 5, denoting Taurus, which is a constellation of 5 stars. The last set, the 7, denoting Pleiades, which is a constellation of 7 stars. So here, this is same alignment is in Rome. Same alignment in London. There are 32. This is ancient. This is an ancient alignment. So the Europeans being the what? The preservers of what? Masonry, not the founders. Europeans being the preserver of Masonry. Once again, Europeans are the preserver of Masonry. All right? They simply taking the ancient knowledge and duplicating it. So they laid out Paris, London, Winnipeg, Ontario, Rome, with this alignment. Why is it important? Because it's magic. It's talismanic magic. Understanding the alignment of the stars and setting civilization based on this knowledge of divine law, based on the natural order, on alignment of the stars. So the Europeans tapping into this knowledge, into this energy. So they told you that July 4th is their holiday. Lying to you, and you thinking that it's their holiday. They took an ancient holiday. They took an ancient star alignment and set their Independence Day based on that day. That's all. It's called the helical rising of Sirius. You set the telescope at 33 degrees. So you line the telescope up and the measurement is set at 33 degrees of arc of separation, where you see the helical rising in Sirius, where the sun and Sirius rise right above the obelisk at 33 degrees of arc of separation. 33 degrees relating to the 33 vertebrates. Now we're looking at anatomy and masonry. Also the Schumann resonance, where the earth, frequency of the earth is 7.8 degrees based on the discharge of electricity. So the number 33 degrees is very, very important in ancient world culture. The Europeans, knowing that, taking advantage of this ancient knowledge for themselves. They're not humanitarians. You cannot be a humanitarian. You cannot steal a people's birthright and then cut them out and then use it for themselves. A humanitarian would be that I would include you. I would share some of my birthright with you. I won't steal your birthright. And now you're hungry. I'm stealing your birthright. They're now giving your birthright to my children. Right? And I have all these charity events. And look at these humanitarian acts that they're doing. They're humanitarians. How? Oh, that's your definition, not mine. That's not my definition. You can't steal somebody's birthright and then use it for your own, children and then give them crumbs. Now here you go. Oh, let me give you a little bit. Oh man, Brother Bey, man, I was thirsty. Thank you very much. Man, you're a great humanitarian. Not knowing that, my ancestors stole your birthright 200 years ago. All right, that this is your birthright here. Come on, man. Just trying to set the record straight with this. This is your birthright. This land, this government, gold and silver, this is your birthright. And they cut you out of it. They created color of law, a colorable status, Negro color, black, to take you out of civilized order. So the status, Negro color, black, being set, so you go into the court. Status is already set, determined, based on a negative status. You're outside the constitutional fold of government. The Treaty of Peace and Friendship of 1786 does not apply to Moors classified as Negro color black. However, it does apply to Moors who declare their Moorish nationality. Same people, different status. Same people. So you have Moors who become aware of their Moorish nationality and birthright and declare their Moorish nationality and birthright and become active on that and understand the truth about Masonry and the origin of it. And you have those Moors who don't know what Masonry is, thinking it started in England in 1717, needing permission from the Europeans, can't do anything without the Europeans when they need permission from you. Come on, European. Ask me for my permission to wear my fez. You need my permission to wear my fez. That's my fez. Why are you wearing my fez without my permission? Who gave you authority to wear my Moorish fez? Why are you in Indianapolis marching around with my Moorish fez? My Moorish fez without my permission. And I'm just doing this to set the record straight. They duped us. We got to reverse the polarity of thinking. Once we reverse that polarity of thinking, we're free. Because that colorful thinking distorts our reality. And we begin to review them as the sovereigns, when in fact you are the sovereigns. And that Moorish headdress Moorish headdress belongs to you by birthright and not by order. By birthright and not by order. By birthright and not by order. Once you're clear on that, you're free, my brothers and sisters. If you're not clear on that, you will continue to submit your more sovereignty to them and submit to them and beg them and look for them for permission. All right? And I know I'm dramatic, but I do that to get the point across. To get the point across. All right? Very important. And I do it for effect. All right, let's talk etymology. Let's talk etymology. We'll get you there. We'll get you there. All right. They're called what? Royal Arc Masons. Royal Arc Masons. It is the Royal Arc. Royal Arc. You see that arc? If you study astronomy, what I say to you after the night? You'll be studying astronomy?
Yes, we did.
Did say that? You study astronomy, and I have pictures of slides on this, but I'm going to put this here. You will know that stars are measured in degrees of arc. Degrees of arc. And angels are what? Angles. All right? So you have the angels, or the arc, going back to measuring stars in degrees of arc, of separation, all right? It's math right in front of you. Here you also have doubling the cube. And that looks like 3 cubes there. All right, just demystifying it, putting it in its proper perspective. All right, let me go down to these. All right, you have the 4 great seasons. He's been to, once again, George Washington Masonic National Memorial Museum. This is what they call the Royal Arc Mason Room. And once again, you see the math there. All right? Now, what does this mean on here? You have the lion and the bull, the man and the eagle. What does that mean? All right? When I first visited the museum in 1997, that's the question I asked. For years, I was wondering. I had pictures for years, and what does this mean? Man, you know, knowing that it has some significance, didn't know exactly. I know what it means. All right. And after that, you're going to know what it means. All right, you have 4 great seasons. The equinox, let's go. Let me just put this on the board. This is, anyway, you know, might be there. I don't know, might be my eraser here. But I'm going to move right along. All right. The vernal equinox moves 1 degree every 72 years. 1 degree every 72 years. You have 36 deacons. We measured, in order to tell time at night, we measure them by the deacons. Because you can't use a Tekken sundial in the day and night. Because that's, you know, that's a sundial. As the sun casts the shadow onto the ground, you can determine the time of day that's based on the length of the shadow. Groundhog, seeing his or her shadow, also determining the length of the shadow by looking at measuring the length of the shadow, you can determine the time of year it is. Groundhog Day, seeing the shadow or not seeing the shadow, Tekken, shadowing cast, depending on how long the shadow is, you know what time of year it is. It's right there. See, that's the, man, that's whole stuff, man, you know, man. Why you got a bunch of Europeans out there, man, looking at the groundhog, some silly groundhog. Man, they silly, man. These silly people out here looking at some silly groundhog. Man, you got hundreds of thousands of them all over the country, man, looking at some silly groundhog. They laughing at you. You the fool. They're mathematicians. You're the fool. They already know that you don't know your culture. All right, so here, the vernal equinox moving 1 degree every 72 years. Now the great year is determined, all right, let's look at this. 1, 2, 3, that's 720 years. 720 years. 720 years, so you have 72. 1 degree moves 1 degree every 72 years. All right? 720. All right, 720 times 3 is what? 2,160 years. All right? So 2,160 years equals what, y'all? 25,920 years. Now you divide this 25,920 years by 4, and you have your 4 great seasons. So here's your 4 great seasons. All right? Bull, lion, eagle, and man. This is you see these images in the Royal Ark Mason's coat of arms. All right? But it has astronomical significance. So this is the 4 great seasons. The Sphinx, or what's the Egyptian name? Owen-Haken. Thank you. You have the head of a man or woman, or body of a lion. And what that represents is the solstices over during that age period, over 2,000 years. And it's an observatory. It's an astronomical observatory. So, all right, so today, the sun rises in what? Cancer during the summer. Rises in what? During the winter. Capricorn. But that wasn't always the case. Remember, you have the equinoxes. So in retrogression, you had Leo before Cancer. Remember, it's retrogression. It's not Cancer, Leo. Cancer, Leo, Virgo. No, it's Leo, Cancer. It's retrogression. So 2,000 years ago, so the Sphinx representing where the solstice points were over 2,000 years ago. So that's what that Sphinx represents. It's astronomy. So let's go in here. All right, looking, you see here. Royal Ark Mason. You see the coat of arms here. So that's representative of the great year. So it's right in front of our faces. All right, see another one here. See another one here. All right, let's go to this. Oh, they got, I seen somewhere where Joachim is on the right, but here Joachim is on the left, and Boaz is on the right. But let's go set here. All right. You have the 2 pillars. All right. I'll go with this orientation here, because I've seen them and I've seen both orientations. Sun, moon. Now what this symbolizes is the lunar solar calendar. Lunar solar calendar. And the relationship between the earth, moon, and sun. The earth revolves around the sun. As the earth is revolving around the sun, the moon is revolving around the earth. Now the moon revolves around the earth in 28 days. Does that 13 times a year. So now you have here, this symbolizes your lunar solar calendar. And so this understanding the astronomy of the earth, moon, and sun, you begin to set your calendar, the lunar solar calendar. You also have the septic calendar, but here it deals more with this lunar solar calendar. All right? So here, so this is what this represents. So this is ancient knowledge once again preserved of the lunar solar calendar. Now, for those who don't know, let's continue with this. The moon in miles is 1,080 miles, the radius. The radius of the moon is 1,080 miles. Using fractal, to fractal the number, the 1,080 equals 108. Have you seen any nuns or priests with the long rosary beads, the side, long, not the ones around the neck, the long rosary beads? I went to Catholic school. I've seen this all. I was brought up in our culture from childhood, but I didn't, I didn't know this, but I had more appreciation for it now that I know what it means. So I was exposed to our culture from childhood. All right? Well, they would walk around with their long rosary beads on the side, and guess how many beads? 108. Is that a coincidence? Masonry right in your face. Measurement of the moon in miles. All right? Also 108 is in the periodic table, the number for silver is 108. Once again, geometry, earth measure. So the measurements of the earth, moon, and sun. Coded in the layout of cities and the measurement of statues, right? And rituals, all right, which means number. The diameter of the moon is what? 1,060. 666. Ooh. Man, you going to hell. Well, hell means sun. So, yeah. 666. 6 times 6 times 6 equals 2,160 years. So this is the radius of the moon, the diameter of the moon in miles, 2,160 years. 666, right in front of your face. It's numbers. All is numbers. The universe is mental. All is numbers. All right? Any questions?
1,160 years, the number of years, the age.
It's an age. Yes, yes, an age. Absolutely. So a half an age is the radius of the moon. An age is the diameter of the moon. So you begin to see how these numbers, how space, time, and numbers correlate. Nothing's arbitrarily done. The universe is mental. All is numbers. This is Masonry. So Masonry, once again, for the Europeans, is the preservation of this knowledge. Masonry for us is we set this. We set the measurements. We were the ones that founded civilization principles on this knowledge. All right. Let me see. Right along. Let's see this. All right, so this is what I was. All right, so this going back to the spherical trigonometry again. So you can see, that's what I was looking for earlier. You see the triangle and the sphere. So let's go back to this. That's that. Triangle and a sphere. And you measure in degrees, you measure it in radian. All right, so that's that. I just wanted you to show you a live picture so we can relate it. All right. So looking at here, the direct angle at the distance. And you're saying, so you're looking at, how shadows are cast, the path of the sun. You have the checkerboard floor. The checkerboard floor, you're looking at the path of the sun and the shadow it casts. So you're looking at the checkerboard floor where the black represented the casting of the shadow, and that's measured. And you're using trigonometry, spherical trigonometry, to measure the shadow. And it also that's time. You're reckoning time. You're reckoning time by determining where the shadow is going to be cast over the course of a day or a course of a year. Going back to Groundhog Day, reckoning time. Determining the time of season it is based on the length of the shadow. So our measurements were so precise. I was talking to Brother Ricky's wife today, and we was talking about the weather report and how they're off a lot. Well, we weren't off. Our measurements were precise. So you have this you go into ancient measurement systems. So what the Europeans have done was they preserved that now, they converted ancient measuring systems. So masonry for them is the preservation of this ancient knowledge. That's what masonry is for them. All right, and so they're the beneficiaries of it today. Of course, they're locking us out of it. They're locking us out of the knowledge of it, though they put us in orders and so forth, but they're locking us out of the knowledge, and they're using us as bill payers. We're being used as bill payers for them. They use us to fight wars for them. They will take your children. I mean, their children ain't going to war. Let's talk, y'all. Their children are not going to war. Your children are going. They're your brothers. Their children staying home, and your children going to war, fight wars for them. That's some great brotherhood. They sure are benevolent. They're sure some great brothers. Oh, you know what? My bad. A European be here the next week to teach what I'm teaching. Yeah, right. Don't hold your breath. Why? Because then you will no longer be their bill payers. I'm just keeping it real, family. I love y'all. All right, going back to this triangle on the sphere. All right? All right, let's go, continue. I wanted to, have you seen the Kathleen Wolf? What is your, everyone seen this? All right? That's astronomy too, y'all. They took that from you too. They took that from you too. But you think that, oh, you know what? That's the symbol of Rome. Yeah, right. Who said that? Oh, they did. That's right. They told you that that's the symbol for Rome. Oh, you read their stories about Romulus and Remus, and, you know, Rome started, and, oh, they told you that. Oh, they didn't tell you about the helical rising of Sirius, the dog star. And why Sirius is called the dog star, because it's in the constellation of Canis Major, the great dog. They didn't tell you about that the helical rising of Sirius brought about the inundation of Nile River, and that the cycle of Sirius is 365 days. Wow, where did they get 365 days from? Cycle of Sirius, the dog star. So there's here a calf, a wolf, or a dog, representing the dog star. The festival of St. John's, you have the festival of St. John the Baptist and the festival of St. John the Episcopus, the evangelist. Well, the festival of St. John's is June 24th. The summer solstice is June 21st. The festival of St. John's is 3 days later. Why? All right, here we go. You have the sun is at its highest point of elevation on June 21st in the Northern Hemisphere. It hovers for 3 days. St. John the Baptist Festival, based in astronomy. And guess what John means? Fish. Onis. The Babylonian name for John is Onis, which is fish, which is symbol for fertility. So it's connected to the helical rising of Sirius, because the helical rising of Sirius bring about the inundation of the Nile River, fertilize the Nile Valley civilization with the soot. So it's all connected. There's a relationship there based in astronomy. So as you know, that agriculture and astronomy are connected, because if you can't feed your society, you have no society. So they adopted this. They claimed to be the originators of this. Now you have the festival of St. John the Evangelist. What am I wearing on my neck? The concept of a crucified Savior is ancient. There's a book called The 16 Crucified Saviors by Percy Graves. The Europeans took the story and claimed to be the originators of it and distorted the image. So they put a European image on a cross, distorted the story, and you think that the crucified story came from them. The crucified story is worldwide. It is the sun dying on the cross, the winter solstice, where the sun is at its lowest point of elevation, dying on the cross, hovers for 3 days, Jesus in the tomb for 3 days. After the third day, December 25th, Christmas, Jesus rises again from the dead. That's the birth of Jesus, December 25th in the Northern Hemisphere. All right? So they're setting this to right of giving you the proper concept. As you see a lot of these symbols, here you have Sirius, going back to Sirius again, that's Sirius the dog star. We're giving honor to Sirius again, the dog star. Now, January 20th. Now, why is the presidential inauguration on January 20th? Why January 20th? It wasn't always on January 20th. It was from 1789. So 1789, it was in March of 1789, and then moved to April. But the focal point was Venus. Venus, we the Mayans focused on Venus because the rising of Venus during April and May brought about the raining season. See, once again, astronomy and agriculture. See, there's a connection there. But they moved it to January 20th in 1947 because Venus shifted March, April, where Sirius was more fixed. So January 20th is where Sirius stays in the night sky the longest. January 1st, the helical rising of Sirius. July 4th, around that time period. Sirius is at its culmination, or at its midpoint, on January 1st. It's in the night sky the longest on January 20th, and sets on April 25th. That's why January 20th. I'm saying this so you can see that astronomy is the basis of what they do. Once again, Masonry for the Europeans is the preservation of your ancient knowledge of astronomy, geometry, government, civilization building. Masonry for you is that you're the founders of it. But they duped y'all and knocked you in the head, buried you in a shallow grave. Hiram Abiff, High Ram, the sun in Aries. High Ram is the age of Aries. So the sun in Aries. So when the sun is in Aries, it is spring, the vernal equinox, Hiram. Amen Ra. Amen, my brothers and sisters, or Amen or Amun Ra, which is Aries. Amen, and then Ra, the sun. Once again, Amen Ra, the sun in Aries, the age of Aries. It's all yours. It's all yours. All right, let's go. How much time do I have? What time is it? I got 1 hour?
I have a question, bro.
Yes, please. Stop it, don't on me.
The term Northern Lights.
Say,
The Northern Lights, as far as the horizon, as far as the sky at night, does that have anything to do with the January 20th date?
The-
Northern Lights, where the light is, the night sky is lit, or the night sky is at its brightest?
yes, because Sirius is at its highest point in the sky on January 1st, and stays in the sky the longest, night sky the longest on January 20th. Yes. Another question? Who's seen this before? Freemasonry tracing board. Once again, we got the three lights, the 3 candlesticks. All right. Well, here we already know that the 3 candlesticks, so there's 3 pillars here: Orion, Taurus, and Pleiades. This is a star map right here, and that star map is laid out in Washington D.C., and Rome, London, and over 30 other areas throughout the world. Now, this stairway to heaven has 33 rungs. Once again, setting the telescope at 33 degrees of arc so that you can see the rising of Sirius and the sun above the obelisk, or Tekken. All right, so this is a star map. You know, this is not, well, it's a Freemasonry tracing board. It's not saying much. Then once again, let's expand our horizon, or expand our knowledge of Masonry, where we move from Freemasonry tracing board to a star map. Because now you know what it is, star map, not just a Freemasonry tracing board. All right? Any questions? All right, let me move on. All right, here we go. Oh man, my friends, the skull and bones. Here we go. They took this from y'all too. I know y'all do this. Where'd they get that from? Let's take it out of the lodge, y'all. We're going to take it out of the lodge and put it in this civilization. Let's see where they got that from. Here we go. Oh, wow. Man, they got their hands. Man, that looks like what the skull and bones do. Hey, you see that? How they got their hands, arms crossed like this? Skull and cross, bones. Wow, where they get that from? Oh, let's see again. Let's see. Here we go. Oh, wow. Man, look at this in South Central America. See the skull carved in stone and the crossbones. Wow, where did they get that from? Hey. Did it originate in the lodge? I'm just showing, proving. Now, what does it mean? Let's talk what it means now. You know, let's say you see this too. All right, same meaning. All right. All right. Here we go. Show you these pictures. Oh wow, they see, they take your stuff. See, you know, the Skull and Bones started at Yale University. George Bush, he was a member of the Skull and Bones. See, that's the European thing, you know. They started with them, you know. Bull. All right. Yeah. So let's talk. All right. You also see it. All right. You see that here. Wow. Look at that. And what they wearing on their heads? You see that? You see that in China? Did I say it's only one culture? All right. Oh, that's astronomy, y'all. They took that from you too. What they call the St. Andrew's Cross and the St. George's Cross. All right. Let's talk about what it means. Now, every 12,000 years, you have this celestial alignment. It's called the double cross. Now that double cross, you have your tropical cross, all right, your 4 seasons, representing your 4 seasons. All right, your tropical cross, your 4 seasons, and you have the double cross, all right? So the tropical cross, all right, and the cross forming that you have your tropical cross and your galactic cross forming the double cross. And that is that alignment of the union of the tropical cross and the galactic cross, which is the intersection of the ecliptic and the galactic, occurs every 12,000 years. So our ancestors knew this, and this is what I was saying about the brothers and the sisters who study, you know, Egyptology and whatever they're studying, all right? And they're just talking about the dynasties. That's limited. So they see the statues, but the statues got their arms crossed. What does that mean? Statues, the arm cross. So the astronomy. So these Europeans study this, you know? So this here, dealing with the galactic cross. So we're moving right along here. All right, once again, you see it there. All right, double cross. See there, showing you that. Here, the precession, circle, and direction of motion of the Earth's axis, current orientation of the North Pole P to the pole star. All right, so here you have the ecliptic and the equator. And so you see here, you see that this occurs over every 12,000 years. Also here, see the star above representing the Earth cross and the galactic cross, symbolized right there in your face. All right, so see the astronomical representation of it. Boy, it's hot. showing you some pictures so that you can put this in the proper perspective. Precession motion of the solstice meridian. Speaking of the meridian, the brother just gave me some news that Zimmerman was found not guilty. And we were talking about this on Friday, and I was fearful that we would burn down cities and get ourselves killed.
That's right.
I mean, that's, you know, I was just projecting that he would be for just that reason, so that more, because they're going to kill us.
That's right.
You know what I mean? They're going to kill us. They're going to, yeah, they're going, you know, they're going to put out, they're going to have the military out there, and they're going to be killing. I mean, you know, they've done it, so it ain't like what I'm saying is some far-fetched stuff. It's done. It's been done year after year after year. So, I mean, that's what I was. Thank you, brother. Whew. Yeah. Yeah, well, you know what we do. Yeah, so here, ecliptic and the galactic midpoint. And as I was saying, there are churches in Europe, in Bologna, in Italy, Paris, and there's one other. But in Bologna, there was from 16 to the 1800s, 4,500 observatories were made. The church building itself is an observatory. You have your cinquefoil hole in the roof of the church, and then you have a meridian line across the floor. So as the sun shines during the course of the year, shining in different points along the meridian line, you determine time of year. Spring, if it's in the middle, it's either fall or spring. Far right or far left is winter or summer. The building itself is an observatory. So this is what Masonry is. These Europeans have been doing this. See, they've given us a false perspective of Masonry. You know, and this knowledge is used for civilization building. You need to know what time it is so that you know you can eat. All right? You can predict weather, cycles, ages. So we reckon time. So this is very important as we understand the principles of civilization. All right, let me see how many other pictures I have. All right, you seen this in churches? See, this here represents a theme. Right here, see a theme, astronomy. So you have your four, representing your 4 great seasons, and the Vesica Pisces, the man within the Vesica Pisces, representing the creative force of nature. It's the theme. It's not just there for aesthetic reasons. This has astronomical meaning. Nothing's done for aesthetic reasons. The aesthetics having a stimulant effect on the subconscious mind. So when you look at different artwork or geometry or architecture, it's done to stimulate the mind, the subconscious mind. So once again, architecture, geometry, and the stimulation of the subconscious mind. Always keep that in mind, not just for mere, oh man, So you set your house this way, but you are doing that to stimulate the subconscious mind of your children with certain colors, and even knowing their sun sign, their math, their natal chart. So doing a natal chart, you know what colors to use to stimulate their mind, what areas to guide them as far as career. So you will use this knowledge. It's not arbitrarily done. Nothing. We didn't do anything arbitrarily. We did everything according to the compass and the square. Every move. Choosing mates, raising children, determining when to have children, when to have certain ceremonies, setting our wedding date, setting particular dates and ceremonies, setting Masonic meetings, whatever. Everything was based on the compass and the square. Every movement. The Europeans do that today. For them, Masonry is the preservation of this. This is what they do. They do this in civilization order. This is what Masonry really, really is. So when they meet, they have what's called a Sayahara, or an astrologer, that sets meetings, knowing when to set certain congressional sessions, when to end congressional sessions. This is planned according to the clock, the zodiac. They project when to go to war, when to end the war, based on this knowledge. And they do it right around you. But we once did this. We once ruled. At some point we ruled. And we did this same thing. And they learned from us. I'm grateful for them, for preserving it. They're preserving it. To that, I'm grateful. So now they got to teach y'all. The sons and daughters, your sons and daughters are going to have to teach y'all what Masonry is. Because they locked y'all out of it. Now they're going to have to teach us. All right? Just keeping it real. All right? So that this is empowering, because once you're clear on true Masonry, you can begin to put things in place to want to rule again. It's all about rule again. I'm not just here just to have this conversation. I want to effectuate change, projecting that you would take this knowledge and expand on it and move on it so that we can rule again. That's the position, to rule again. The Europeans hold our government as trustees and custodials. We are putting things in place to reclaim, to show the world that we are ready. That Europeans, you can step down now. You can step down now. You can step down now. We're ready to run our Moorish government. Thank you for preserving it as custodials. Thank you for preserving it as custodials. You're custodials of it. You're not the sovereigns. You're not the beys. You're not the beys of it. You're custodials. You're not the true Masons. We are. But of course, I don't expect them just to step down like that. I'm not a fool. It's going to take work. I'm not a fool, so my mom didn't raise a fool. But I know it's going to take work, and I'm doing the work. Thank you. Come on, question.
So when these lodges that are like mostly Caucasian or European, however you want to call it, do they teach this part of the history of Masonry? Do they talk about the Moors? Do they tell
Yes.
their students or their brothers how the fez came about and clothes?
Yes. They do that. They even do that in homes. Yes.
They let them know that we got this from.
Yes. They get a different information base than you do in the lodges. One, they're separated, they're segregated. Why is that the case? I don't see them extending the brother hand to y'all.
But why wouldn't you do that to the people you stole the information from?
Why would you?
Why wouldn't you?
What, extend the brother hand?
Yeah.
Well, they may as well pack up tomorrow. They may as well pack up tomorrow, because it's over. This is your birthright. They send their children to school on your birthright. They send you to war and their children go to school. Even when they initiated the draft, who was going? Either poor Europeans and y'all going to war. Vietnam, but those Masonic brothers of yours and Europeans, their children wasn't going to war. They was going to college. But they send your children to war. But yet, of course, they're some great brothers. Wow. I'm saying they playing us, man.
So do you hate white people?
I don't hate you.
Not me.
I don't hate you. No, I don't hate you. I don't hate him. They know I'm going. I don't hate her. I don't hate her. I don't hate him. I don't hate him. I don't hate. No, I don't hate y'all. Why would I hate my own people? I'll clear it up. I'll clear it up. No, I know. Let's vote with me for a little bit. I'll clear it up. They know I'm gonna clear it up. All right. All right. Let me clear it up. Free white person in the Black's Law Dictionary, 1933, 1932 Black's Law Dictionary. The meaning commonly given to it in the Nationalization Act of 1792 to mean those commonly counted as white and their European descendants. I ain't done. Then below that, it has the annotation section where it qualifies who white people are. It does not mean Caucasian race, Indo-European race. It includes Magyars, Finns, Lapps, Moorish inhabitants of Spain and Portugal, North Africans, white brother. It does not mean Caucasian race or Indo-European race. It does not mean what you think it means. White brother, sovereign of the land, white brother, sovereign of the land, white brother, sovereign of the land, majority, they're the minority, and you are the majority. But they switched places with you and called you black, and then they took the white title, sovereign, grand commander, most puissant, warrior monarch, imperial potentate. They took your titles, white man. So no. So do I hate? So no, I don't hate white people. I mean, I don't hate my own people. And no, I don't hate Europeans. Let's talk. To hate, let's talk. I cannot ascend if I hate. I cannot ascend. Hate. Let's talk metaphysics. Hate has a higher wavelength, therefore a lower frequency. Juali said, Moors, we learn to love, to learn and love instead of hate. That's metaphysics. Love has a lower wavelength, therefore a higher vibration. For me to hate anyone, all right, I won't be able to see. It's called projection. So if you throw hate at me, it's called turn the other cheek or projection. So I project love onto you. So now the hate that you throw at me As I project love onto you, that hate returns to you. Talk to me. But if I hate as you hate, now I take on that energy and I can't see. So understand it's a metaphysical lesson that ties to this. And once you understand the metaphysics, you don't need to believe anymore. Because you begin to what? Know. So I love white people, my people. And don't hate Europeans. All right? I thought I was going to clear it up, but I figured through a little bit, Because I know he was confused as all get out. He was confused as all get out. Oh, man. Right on. And another question. Let me see what else I have here. All right, here. This is, that's Rome. All right. You see here, once again, the tropical cross and the galactic cross. So I just show you different examples of where this is laid out. So let you know, see here the galactic cross and the tropical cross laid out in the architecture. Pope Sixtus V, all right, 6/5, Pope Sixtus V was the one who, under his administration, about 20 Tekkens were moved out of Egypt and placed in Italy, with an area called Rome. All right? So they did was, on the Pope Sixtus V, he set the Tekkens based on long distance alignments, understanding the astronomy. They were not arbitrarily placing fountains. So he actually mapped out that area according to the map of the stars. This is your knowledge that they're preserving. So they maintain it by duplicating the knowledge in Paris and London and Winnipeg and Ontario and Rome. And they're harnessing this energy. They're benefiting from it. And so they give us a narrow view of Masonry Lodge. Meanwhile, they're governing civilization and your birthright with this knowledge. When are we going to govern our own birthright with this knowledge? That's what I'm talking about. And they created the game of keeping it secret. Meanwhile, they're benefiting from the theft of your birthright. Meaning, we're playing right in their hands. And using y'all as bill payers. I mean, really, who's really benefiting though? They send your children to war. I mean, who's really benefiting? Who's actually writing these color laws? Who's actually controlling these courts? I mean, their children will get caught for DWI and get a snap on it, give community service and slap on the wrist. Your children, same thing. They give them some time. Fine them up and everything. And then, they give us, little tokens here and there. But it's always, we're marching to their beat. When are we going to get them to march to our beat? I mean, we set the tone, we set the beat, and then they follow the beat. They set the tone, and we follow the beat. Let's reverse it. We're marching to their beat, meaning color law, colorable courts, color status. Who created the race and ethnic standards of federal statistics and administrative reporting? Who classified your children as Negro, colored, black? Who used that system in schools, jobs? Who created that? That benefits them. Are they teaching your children the true history, yes, their children learn the false history, but there are other institutions where their children learn the true history. After all, you fought for integration, and we gotta be with the Europeans and integration. So all right, no problem. They let you in the schools, but they had to dumb their children down too. They segregated the schools so they can really educate their children. So now they had to change the whole curriculum because you're now in the schools. I mean, everything's about you. This is your birthright, so we can't, we had to change things up. We can't really educate the Moors whom we defeated. So now we got to have our own Rotary clubs and Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts. In fact, they don't want you in there. Why? Because they really can't educate their children. So now they got one of us in there. Oh, man, we got to defeat it more. And our Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts. Dang, man. We can't really educate the children now. We got to even dumb our own children down because we got to defeat it more. All right? It ain't racism. It's birthright theft. Racism, Carl Linnaeus, Francois Bernier, Johann Friedrich Blumenbach, developed based on 4 constructs: skin tone, facial features, there's phenotypes, skull size, and hair texture. They created that. It's a fiction. It's made up. They're still your birthright. See, they don't like us because of the color of my skin. See, one day, I want my 4 little children to grow up and not be judged by the color of skin, but by the content of their character. I had a dream. Dr. King, my dear brother, your children were never judged by the color of their skin. Never judged by the color of skin. That paradigm was created to steal our birthright. We're judged because we are the Moors, the true sovereign of the lands, who have been classified as Negro, colored, black, and placed out of civilized order. And so therefore that sets a negative status. In 1789, 8 Moors petitioned the House of Representatives for South Carolina House of Representatives for a clarification of their legal status. The House of Representatives of South Carolina ruled that those 8 Moors were indeed Moors and were not subject to the Negro Act. Both the Constitution of South Carolina and the Negro Act was both read and received. So the whole issue is the clarification of our legal status, as the European created a false status with the Linnaeus, Francois Bernier, Johann Friedrich Blumenbach paradigm, birthright stealing, skin color paradigm. What color are you? Are you black or white? They don't like the color of our skin. They created that paradigm to steal your birthright. Thank you, European Masons, our dear brothers who were part of that. Where's the true brotherhood? They playing y'all. Where's the true brotherhood? That's right, they'll be here next week to teach the same thing. That's right, they'll be here next week to teach you about your nationality and your birthright that they've stolen from you, and teach you astronomy and geometry, and have a telescope here at night and show you. That's right, they'll be here next week. Don't hold your breath. They ain't giving it up. They may as well pack up today, because we're the true sovereigns. We're the white people. We're the bays. So we got these substitute bays, the governors, that's controlling your resources. All right? Another question. I'm just keeping it real, y'all. I'm just keeping it real. This false brotherhood, I ain't buying it. I'm not buying it, man. Because our children are in jail at a disproportionate rate. Color law, they target us with color law, colorful courts. They send us to war. So where's the brotherhood? That's why our children are suffering. But we have hope, though, meaning that we have a birthright. So the future is bright for us. You say, but how? If you know you have knowledge, if you have knowledge of the birthright, you know the future is bright, because this is your birthright. That's a fact, Jack. This is your birthright. That's a fact, Jack. That's a doubt, a contradiction. This is your birthright. And they are custodials of your birthright. Then that's what Masonry is for them. So, when are they going to assist us in raising us, our people up from a dead level to a living perpendicular, so when we're looking down, we're looking at the perfect point of a square. Don't hold your breath. Now, other questions? All right? So let me, this board is, I don't know, maybe the eraser, I don't know why is it like this. All right, so now, you ever heard the statement that Jesus Christ died for our sins? It's a true statement. There's nothing wrong with the statement. In fact, say it. Jesus Christ died for our sins. Jesus Christ died for our sins. It's a true statement. There's nothing wrong with the statement. Go to the etymology. We know what Jesus means. When you leave out here tonight, what you're going to see out in the sky? You're going to see stars and it's bright. It's you know, very bright. You know, it depends if it's new moon, full moon, right? Go see the moon, right? Guess what sin means? So when the sun sets or dies, you see what? When the sun sets or dies, you see so Jesus Christ dies so that you can see sin. Etymology. And as you begin to see these words in this etymological perspective, begin to see that the culture, the true science is right there in front of your face. So this is key. Another, hell, holy. So the holy and hell is sun. So the Bible is a holy book, meaning that it's a sun book. It's a book of astrology and taught in allegories. How much time do I have? What's that? All right, let me get some water here because I'm hot. Can I take a 5-minute break?
Sure.
Please. Let's take a 5-minute break. Wrap this up here. We have here the issue to begin the restoration process of our land, our Moorish land, our Moorish government, our Moorish sovereignty. Is that we have to clarify the legal status of our people who are classified in the United States Census Bureau as Negro, colored, and black. That status must be corrected. Our people, you have what's called you have natural person and artificial person. Now, there is a statement that's used in the lodges accepted and free. Accepted and free. Now, let's apply that statement in civilized order. All right, let's take it out of the lodge and apply it into civilized everyday affairs. In order to be free, it's called free and accepted. In order to be free and accepted, you must be in your proper person. You cannot transact business in another man's name and then say that you're free and accepted. We're going to take the statements, so let's put it in a much broader category of law and civilization. So the first issue to be free and accepted is that you must clarify, must declare your nationality and give the Europeans their names and reclaim your birthright names. As names, family names are based in lineage, ancestry, consanguinity, descent, pedigree, parentage, national origin, family names. So we've been conditioned to refer to European names, Germanic names. They're not slave names. We don't, those classified as Negro, colored, black in the United States Census Bureau do not transact business in slave names. Slave is Slavic. Slave is a nationality. That's a nationality, that's an Eastern European nationality, slave. So the names are Germanic names. Culpeper, O'Reilly, Brockington, Smith, Jones, Johnson are not slave names. They're Germanic names. Dutch, Danish, Welsh, French, I mean, not French, French is Latin based. Those are Germanic. So we have our people trying to back business in French names as well. All right, so just set the record straight on that. So first issue is status, and that must be corrected so that we can be free and accepted in society. So what they've done was they assumed jurisdiction. This European occupational colonial government called the United States have assumed jurisdiction over our people through the 14th Amendment. They convinced our people that the 14th Amendment made them citizens. And what it does, it actually creates an artificial person status and takes you outside the constitutional form of government. So what they do is now, because you have that artificial person status, the status is already being set as an artificial person. Thereby, constitutional law does not apply. This is why those 8 Moors in 1789 petitioned the House of Representatives of South Carolina for a clarification of their lawful status, because they know that if they were accused of a crime and amenable to be brought to justice, that they will be tried under constitutional law and not under the Negro Act. Today, 2013, our people are tried under the Black Coat and Negro Act. We don't know that. We don't know what takes place. We call it racism. We call it the color of our skin paradigm. And that's the reason why we get the mistreatment, because of the color of our skin. The Europeans don't like the color of our skin. So they taught you that Corlenaeus, Francois Bernier, Johann Friedrich Blumenbach paradigm to steal your birthright. So when you deal with, so if there's a legal issue at hand, the status is already negative, so they already assume jurisdiction through the 14th Amendment and also through the negative status, and they begin to adjudicate. That's what it really is. As I was telling Brother Ricky's wife, and she was referring to it as it being a shame, or what other term she used? She said it's a shame. All right, and I said, well, we're going to change that. Let's talk about what it really is. All right, so I began to explain these principles to her. It's not a shame. It's birthright theft. It's that you have a negative status. You're not free and accepted. To be free and accepted, you must have a name of your pedigree and a nationality proclaimed in order to be free and accepted. We're talking about in society. and true government and civilized order, so that Masonry can be applied and really improve our communities. And this is what Masonry is. That's what free and accepted really means. So the Europeans gave you the distorted meaning of it and say you're free and accepted because you're part of the lodge. But remember, they calling the shots though. We're stepping at their tune and their beat. We gotta change that. You know what? We're going to change that. We're going to change that. And we're not going to be stepping at their beat, these colorful courts, color of law, and their colorful misrepresentation of Masonry to y'all. All right? So, artificial person and natural person. Also, giving you more information, income. None of you earn income unless you got some investment somewhere. But what you get at the check you get at your job, that's not income. What you receive at your job after working 80 hours is not income. It's compensation or wages. What they've done was they classified you as an artificial person, assuming jurisdiction over you through the 14th Amendment. So therefore, you being made a corporation on paper, and then for they classify what you earn as income. Because income is a return on an investment. It only applies to corporations. It's called capital gain tax. That's what income is. So, key is the status. Create an artificial person status, thereby now the income applies because they're a corporation. So then now they classify you and your co-workers as corporations, and classify what you make, your compensation, as income. And all has to do with status. Let's be free and accepted in the true sense of the word, in a sense in civilization and civilized order. Free and accepted. On that, I'll end. Thank you very much. Yes.
I just want to give a historical clarity on the free and accepted. We are not free and accepted. And in 1895, we went.
Yeah, give him a mic.
Okay. Yeah, mic. Okay. Project. There's one. First of all, let me thank you very much for that erudite presentation, a learned presentation. Well researched, well put together, and yeah, for those who are not Masons, some of it might be a little above your head. That means those initiated Masons, that is. But brothers who are here who have been initiated and have gotten a Master Mason's degree, they can really relate to what you have said in regards to that. But some, like our Grand Matron here, she's the head of the sisters for this jurisdiction. She's the Grand Matron, as the Order of the Eastern Star. She can relate to some of it. Because our initiation and their initiation is separate and distinct. So she doesn't know too much about the Masonic side of it as such, because she is an adopted order to the Masons. But she has, she's taught along the lines of Masonic traditions. But what I'm going to say that in historically, in 1895, we had a big court case against the Moderns and Freemasons and the Compact Masons in the Prince Hall and so on. And it lasted from 1895 up to 1910, where the court ruled in our favor for us to maintain the letters Ancient Free and Accepted Masons. Mm-hmm. And they had to change their name to Free, Ancient, and Accepted Masons. So it was in the Evening Star of the Washington Star, February 1st, 1910. So that's what the historical landmark on our part. That's had by that time Scottish Rite Masons. So we have retained those letters from that time until now. And these are for the Black Masons in the United States of America. So we had that's a historical fact that we already have. So when I already said free, Asian accepted, it's normally referred to as the Prince of. You have free and accepted Masons, and you have free Asian and accepted Masons. So that's where it all broke from. When we challenged them in court, and had a big case, and we prevailed, and the court ruled in our favor for that.
Let me all right, good point. Let me just go back for clarification here. When I was saying this, it was putting the term in civilization order. I mean, I know what you're saying as far as the lodge is concerned. I was taking it out of the lodge and putting it into civilization order as far as status of our people. The status of our people is that they have a negative status. They're classified as Negro, colored, black. So therefore, we're not free and accepted in society. I'm not talking about in an order. I'm not talking about Masonic orders. I'm talking about in society, where we're not recognized as a people by China and France and England and Germany and Japan and Nigeria and so forth as a people, because we're classified as Negro, colored, black in the Census Bureau. Yeah, okay. So I was not talking about being accepted in a Sonic order sense. I'm talking about being accepted in society. And yes, internationally. And then how we can become free and accepted by declaring our Moorish nationality and by taking our names back, begging ill. That's what I was talking about. I just wanted to clarify that for the record so that we can use the term free and accepted. I'm not taking it out of the lodge, but placing in its proper sense, civilization. Because that's, for Masonry to be effective, it must be viewed in the sense of civilization, in a broader sense. That's where I was coming from. Thank you for that. All right, on that we'll end. Thank you very much for having me. All right, it was indeed an honor to be here. Indeed an honor. And I want to thank Grandmaster Newby for having me, Brother Ricky for reaching out, making it happen. Thank you very much. Very greatly appreciated. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to raise my brothers and sisters from a dead level to a living perpendicular.
I was asking, do you have, I thought I saw Brother Rick with some.
Yes, I have some literature here for sale. I have a website, moorcivilletter.net. I'll put on the board so that those watching the film can see. This is my website, Moorish Civil Letter. That's an H. Let me put the H here. Make sure it's an H. All right, so we definitely have to end. Moorish Civil Letter. And also I have a video page. I have a video page where you can order videos. All right, that's my website, moorcivilletter.net. And there's another website, RV Bey Publications. Thank you for this, brother. Publications.com. Loads of information on both sites. This is my personal site, and then a lot of Talib Bey's information is on rvbeypublications.com. All right? So check those two sites out. You can order books from both sites, DVDs from my site, and books from rvbeypublications.com. All right? And I have books and posters and DVDs over there. All right? On that, I'll end. Thank you.
You're so good. You're too bad. So what we're going to do, after the summer's over, and to get the summer jitters out of the system, we're going to bring you back.
All right.
I'm going to get in touch with all the temples in the area, and we have another, a good meeting here, again, of the man. Also, as I was telling you yesterday,
Only because that's my instructions.
We have a big biennial session in Chicago next July, August.
Right. Yeah.
And this will be with hundreds of brothers and sisters and nobles and daughters and all of that. And I'm going to try my utmost to get you to come and speak to the shrine department. Because I think the information that you have, the shriners there should, and the daughters should get a chance to hear what you have to say.
Right.
You know, so keep that in mind. And the dates for next year will be, normally we have our convention in Chicago. That's the last 2 weeks of, the last week of July going into the first week of August. But I'll let you know further than that.
All right.
After I speak to the Imperial folks and so
All right.
we might be a part of the Imperial diver at that time. So I'll work on it. And Brother Ricky and myself, we'll be in touch.
Yeah, I have your
But
number. We
definitely
talk.
before Christmas, you will back here again.
All right.
Because most of the lodges, they're off July and August.
That's right.
See?
Same in Philly.
All right.
That's right.
So
You're right.
Once they come back
You're
on
right.
the 4th,
You're right.
you get it.
He's right.
You will have this place full of people.
Yeah, he's right. Yeah. You know, I forgot about that too. Yeah.
So, once again, thank you very much, my brother.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.